Greetings. It's your girl back with another podcast. We are looking at the tarot again. It's been a while since I've seen you guys. I am so sorry. It's been a while. I've been so busy. So much has happened since we last left. I think the last card I think it was the King of Swords or the Queen of Pentacles. I'm not sure. I can't remember which one I did the last one. But anyway, we're going to discuss the Queen of Swords today. And it's interesting because I heard a song called The Queen of Swords, and I was actually reading the lyrics, and it's very interesting. Pretty much describes the Queen of Swords. But anyway, from a tarot perspective, the Queen of Swords. Now, if we talk about the Rider-Waite version of, which is like the official tarot, the way that it's designed. So we're going to talk about the imagery of the card from the Rider-Waite perspective, but we're also going to talk about the attributes of the Queen of Swords in the upright and in the reverse, because these are very important aspects. Okay. So the Queen of Swords, when you see the Queen of Swords, typically from the Rider-Waite perspective, you see her sitting on her throne sideways. From a sideways view, you don't see her like a face-on view of the Queen of Swords. You see her from the side. You see her side, her right side. Okay, and in her right hand, she holds the sword. Now, see, with tarot, you always have to look at what they are holding because it tells you a lot. No matter which card or from what deck, always look at what the imagery of the card. If there's people in the card or whatever, angels, whatever, in the card, always look at what they're holding. It tells you what they are bringing, they're about. So the Queen of Swords, she sits on a throne with a sword, and you see her from the right. Now, the right hand side, I'm going to go a bit more in depth than I have before because I've had a lot happen to me since we last spoke about the tarot, but we're going to go a bit deeper. So on the throne, you always see a bird because she typically represents an air sign, female. Doesn't have to be, because men, women have both female and male attributes. So, but because she's the queen, sorry if you hear my cat meowing in the background. Okay. She usually represents a Gemini, a Libra, or Aquarius. On the throne, you will see a bird and a butterfly. Yeah. She's very vocal, and that's the Queen of Swords energy, is somebody who speaks. She can be a speaker or someone who delivers news or delivers information. So she's the queen of communication, of thought. We discussed the King of Swords. The King of Swords is the king of thought. But the King of Swords is the master of the air sign collective, okay? He's mastered his communication, his mental acuity. He's mastered his mind. Whereas the Queen of Swords, she still has some work to do, but she's coming from an emotional standpoint, whereas the King of Swords, he's not emotional at all. There's no emotion with him. Some people would call him quite cold and calculated, and therefore people go to the King of Swords for advice because he doesn't have feelings. He's not going to tell you something based off feelings. He's going to tell you facts. He's going to tell you the truth. Where the Queen of Swords, she has boundaries, and that's why you don't see her face on. If you come at me sideways now, So in her right hand, she has a sword to let you know that I will cut you if you come with any BS, if you come with any untruth, if you come with any mental games, mind games, word games. I created this stuff. You can't fool me with this stuff. Okay. Her left hand, she has her hand open as if to say, okay, come closer. I'm willing to listen to what you're saying. I'm willing to give you the time and the energy. I'm willing to give you advice, but don't play with me because I have a sword. Don't play with me. Okay. With all the other queens, the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, I think, the Queen of Cups, you see her kind of from the side view as well. But the Queen of Swords is very, very definite. Like, don't come at me sideways. don't try it. Okay. On her throne, engraved in her throne, she has a butterfly which talks about transformation. The butterfly talks about rebirth, transformation, communication that brings transformation, truth that brings confirmation. The Queen of Swords is also known to cut people out of her life if she feels the need to, that they've been untrue, or there's untruths, or there's any kind of mental deception, because she is somebody who detects deception. Don't come at me with lies. I have the sword of truth. Don't come at me with lies. The Queen of Swords in the upright, we can continue. Usually in the Rider-Waite, there's a bird that is flying in the distance. And the bird represents communication, coming, incoming, outgoing. Okay. She's usually seen as somebody who's an advisor, spiritual advisor. Doesn't have to be a spiritual advisor, but she's somebody with discernment. She's somebody who people go to for advice because they will tell her that she will tell you the truth. She's someone who very direct. She's not going to mince her words. She's got a great sense of humor. She's very dry. She's dry sense of humor. You know, very intelligent, very witty. The Queen of Swords is, like I said, she is a woman of boundaries. She has boundaries. You don't cross the boundaries, we're good. You know, if you come at me with any kind of foolishness now, then you're going to get the sword. Okay? She's not like the other queens in a sense where she's very welcoming, even though she has one hand open as a gesture of welcoming, but she still lets you know that she's in control here. I can detect if there's something wrong. She's like a lie detector. I'm going to say that. The Queen of Swords now in the reverse. Okay. The Queen of Swords in reverse is somebody who tells a lot of lies. She can be very spiteful. Some people call her the scorned woman. Usually this Queen of Swords can represent a woman who's divorced, or a woman alone. Or when you see the King and the Queen together in a reading, it can talk about a divorced couple, or a couple that are maybe not seen eye to eye, even though they are the same suit. That, for some interpretations I've heard, that's, you know, if you see them both in that reading together, it can talk about that in a love reading. But the Queen of Swords in reverse is somebody who has no boundaries. She's very spiteful with her words. She will use mental She'll use mental tricks to win you over, because she's still intelligent, but she's vindictive with it. Okay, the Queen of Swords is somebody who she's somebody who has been hurt and scorned, and she's not going to let anybody in. She's not going to extend the hand of welcome. Like, she's going to cut you. That's it. Sometimes the Queen of Swords can represent a woman that's not speaking to anyone, or she's somebody who's not speaking. Okay, at this time, she's not saying anything. You know, she could be thinking, she could be pondering a decision. The Queen of Swords, as an occupation, she can be somebody involved with the law. She could be a lawyer. She could be with the sword. She could represent a surgeon, or somebody who uses weaponry in some type of way. The Queen of Swords, as an occupation, is usually seen as an advisor, or somebody who will tell you the truth. She will deliver news. But when she's in reverse, she can lie. She can bend the truth to suit herself. The Queen of Swords can be somebody who's very cold, very scornful, very vindictive, bitchy, because people call her the bitch of the tarot. But then any of the queens in reverse can be a bitch. So let's not brand, because the Queen of Swords gets a reputation of being a bitch, and you know, whereas the others don't. Well, I feel like all of them could be bitches in their own way. Okay, and we will talk about more about the queens. I think we talked about the Queen of Pentacles. How can she be a gold digger? She's all about that money. She don't take care of her children or home or anything. She's always about herself. So you can look at that type of person as a bitch. But whereas the Queen of Swords, her words can cut like knives. And you will call her the bitch because some of the things that she will say to you will be, she will use truth against you. Like any information that you gave her about yourself, she will throw that back in your face. Yeah. And it won't, it may not be lies, it may be the whole truth. But the way that she will spin it is that it will be the most hurtful thing that you've ever heard. And it will cut like a knife. So, like I said, she could represent a divorcee, a woman alone. The Queen of Swords can be somebody who doesn't want to be married. She can be a widow. She's sometimes looked upon as a widow, a woman alone. Queen of Swords, whether upright or reverse, she's a widow. She's alone. And yeah, what else can I say about the Queen of Swords? Her spiritual powers is her ability to speak things to manifest things through speech. Her superpowers is her words. So this is why it's very careful. You need to be very careful. I think I said that she could be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, air sign. And those air signs tend to have, tends to be their superpower. They tend to be clairaudient as well. That they like music and they like sound. Sound is important. Telepathic communication is one of their spiritual gifts, as well as I'm so sorry about my cat. As well as telepathy. I said that already. But like I said, they can speak things into manifestation. They can speak things into existence. This is why they need to be very careful about how you speak. It's not because they have power over words, whether good or bad. The Queen of Swords, because she's air energy, she's very connected to birds. Those birds, winged animals are her totem a lot of the time. But animals that communicate are her totem. Parrots, winged, because parrots speak. Those are her totems or are her spirit animals. Not all the time, but in most cases. She pays attention to the birds, as do all the other air signs in the tarot. Butterflies, like I said, butterflies bring in transformation because we're a truth, and that's the thing I forgot to mention. The air signs bring truth, and truth is not always sweet and nice. The truth can be hurtful. As we say, the saying goes, truth hurts. But also the saying goes, the truth will set you free. So this is where the transformation comes in. So they bring truth. Alternatively, you turn that up in reverse, she can bring lies. But she can twist the truth as well. So yeah, that's the Queen of Swords. She can be a writer, a speaker, anything to do with communications, anything to do with media, the airwaves. They rule that domain, okay? And she's always, most of the time, she's dressed in white. White is about the crown chakra. So this is about spiritual communication that comes through. And so again, communication. So telepathy. I think I mentioned that already. But yeah, so that's what I'm getting from the Queen of Swords. As I do these things, I just hold the card in my hand. I don't read from a book or anything. This is what I know of each card in my experience. So if you have anything else you want to say about the Queen of Swords, write it below so we can all learn. Anything else that you've picked up from the energy of the Queen of Swords, write it below. And also listen to the song by Queen of Swords. I've forgotten it. I think it's the woman that sang the song "Let It Go" in the film Frozen. That same singer wrote a song called "The Queen of Swords." A very interesting song. Go and listen to it. Until next time, have a great day.